Hi everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm Tisa Blackburn and I'm your Acrylic Diva. Today we're going to do a very simple landscape painting in acrylic. And I'm working in my sketchbook today. So this is always a really fun way that you can just kind of brainstorm for some paintings. So let's go right to the overhead camera. Okay, we have our set of golden heavy bodies that I'm using today. And I want to make sure our sound is okay. Make sure our sound is okay. We have our set. Yeah, okay, good. Also, let me know where you're watching from. I put that in the chat room, in the chat box. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know. So first of all, let's put out our three primary colors and some titanium white. I'm going to start with quinacridone magenta and a little benzimidazolone yellow. Now these are all in your description. The Golden Essentials mixing set is in the description. And the benz yellow, you could also use Hansa yellow. Some phthalo blue, green shade. These are my primary mixing colors. And you'll see you pretty much don't need anything else. Once you have these three colors, you're pretty well set. Now I will put out a fair amount of titanium white. I'm going to put 2 blobs of titanium white out. That way, in case I need a cool mixture and a warm mixture, I'll have them separate. And I'm also going to talk about glazing liquid today because this really helps to keep things wet and workable while you're working. Now, one thing that's really important to remember, I'm working on paper today. And when you work on paper with acrylic, you can use a fair amount of water because the paper absorbs the water. When you're working on canvas, you know, if you've seen any of my past videos, you'll know that I'm always saying don't use a lot of water, don't use a lot of water on canvas because that'll break down the paint film and that will sometimes keep the paint from bonding to the canvas. But we're working on paper today, so I can use as much water as I want, and that's going to make things lovely and juicy and flow really well. So here we go. I'm starting out with where's my number 12? Okay. I want my number 12 Aqua Elite, my Princeton Aqua Elite number 12, nice big round synthetic sable brush. I love this brush. I'm going to put it in the water. I am going to use a fair amount of water because I'm on paper today. And I'm going to start with the sky. Let's just start with a blue sky. We're going to give it kind of a New Mexico sky. Let's give it a little kind of turquoise feel. So once I get that blue down, I'll come back and just grab a tiny bit of that Hansa or benzimidazolone just to kind of green that up a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to go to a bigger brush. I'm going to go to my square Langnickel brush. This is my 3/4 inch Langnickel. And that is probably in your description as well. If it's not, it's over in my Amazon store. These are really good brushes. Let me know where you're watching from. Put that in the chat box for me. All right, phthalo. Let's get a little water. We're just blending right on the paper. And like I said, I'm using paper, so I can use a fair amount of water. You can really treat these acrylics almost like watercolors when you're working on paper. Let's go a little lighter with that. There we go. I'm going to bring that down about so far. I think I'm going to go quite a bit lighter for my sky. I want to get a little bit more turquoise feel, so I'm picking up a little bit of this yellow, a little bit of water. Let's put that down. A little more phthalo. And by the way, the sketchbook that I'm using, I want to show you the cover. These are the Canson Mixed Media sketchbooks, and boy, they are real workhorses. They take paint really well and they stay flat. So they're really good for that. And I think if that's not in your description, it's over in my Amazon store. But they're great, great sketchbooks. They're real workhorses. Okay. And you can see I'm using a fair amount of water, and my paper is not pilling up or anything like that, which is great. Let's have a little cloud action here. Have little clouds. Let's have some clouds. Just get some white, titanium white there, and then blend a little bit. Just give it the feeling there's a little bit of cloud going on there. Okay, so that's our sky. I think I'm going to go a little bit lighter. Let's put a little bit more titanium white down. There we go. A little darker up here for some contrast. And then just come back and blend that kind of softly. Lost a little bit of my cloud action there. If you have questions as I go along, just pop them into the chat box. I'm happy to answer questions as we go. All right, I'm going to wash my brush and dry it really well. I'm not going to use that square brush again. I'm going to use my Acrylic, my round Acrylic. We're just going to build some hills here. Now I am going to be using really bold colors. These are not representational colors. It's more of an abstract, you know, bright color kind of landscape. So I'm going to go into the Quin Magenta, a little bit of water, a little bit of titanium white, and I'm just going to lay that down and see how I roll my brush. Just roll your brush, roll it. These brushes are so great for that. It gives you just this really pretty contour line. Load that up with paint and then just let the paint strokes define the landscape. Let the paintbrush do the work. Why should we do all the work? Let the paintbrush do some work. So I've got my Quin Magenta. And just vary those shades. Add more titanium white, add less titanium white, and that'll give you some really nice transitions there. Okay. Yeah, so we've got a landscape going here. Now I've got a dirty brush. I'm going to go right into my Hansa yellow or Benzimidazolone yellow and start to bring some of that in. Let's grab a little titanium white. Doesn't matter if I've got some of that magenta on my brush, because the whole idea is that these colors will harmonize with one another. I've only got 3 colors on my palette. I don't need, you know, a whole bunch of colors. I don't need it. 3 colors is plenty. So we'll have a little yellow. Let's grab a little bit more of that quin magenta, a little titanium white here. Just a really pretty, colorful landscape. And just let those brush strokes really do their job, you know? That's why it's important to have a really nice brush. So you get these lovely brush strokes. Okay, now I'm not going to wash my brush. My brush has kind of got a, let's look at it over here. See that kind of orangey color I've got on my brush? I'm going to go right into phthalo blue with that orangey color. And that's going to mute down this phthalo blue. Now it's probably going to be way blue because I don't have much of that orangey color left. So I'll just grab a little quin magenta, making a kind of a purple. And then I'll grab a little bit more of my yellow. And look at that, yum! Look at that beautiful brown I just made. Might be hard to see on the camera, so let me put a little titanium white in it. See, look at that. Isn't that pretty? And that's made with those three colors. So I'm just going to put that in right here. Let's make it a little more quin magenta. Tiny bit of water, just so things will flow. Grab a little bit more of that. A little more quin magenta. Just a little bit of water. Keep things to flow here. Just that really pretty muted, kind of muted purple we made. Let's make some more purple, quin magenta, phthalo blue, little yellow. Let's get a little more yellow here. Now that looks a little bit green to me. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but I will grab a little quin magenta. When it gets too green, just put a little quin magenta in it. And let me grab my color wheel. So see, what I'm basically doing when I'm making this muted color is if it's too green, I put quin magenta in it. So I just come across the color wheel like this, right? And I'm just basically mixing these three colors together. My red violet, which is quin magenta, my blue, my phthalo blue is right about here, and my yellow. So those three colors right there, that's all we need really. And you can make everything with those three colors. Pretty astonishing, right? Now we've got a really pretty kind of gray here. Let's put a little quin magenta in it. Okay. All right, so we've got a pretty juicy landscape going here. My sketchbook. These are great studies to do in your sketchbook. If you just want to kind of keep your chops going, this is a really good way to do it. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's grab a little titanium white. I'm going to have a few little dunes or something. I don't know what we're going to call them. Dunes, I guess. Just to vary up that value. To give us the feeling that we've got some variation there, a little bit. And maybe just a tiny bit of phthalo blue. Let's get one of these and make it a little bit darker. Okay. Alrighty. So we've got some pretty wild abstract landscape going there. Pretty colorful. You know, we're kind of in that range with people like David Hockney and you know, Vlaminck, and maybe even some of Van Gogh's stuff, where they use those really big, bold colors, you know. So that's kind of what we're doing here. All right. Let's have some trees. I am going to wash my brush. And don't forget, we have Saturday classes over at acrylicdiva.com. I'm going to put that in the chat for you. Right there. And that is, our Saturday classes are really reasonable too. And we paint for 90 minutes on Saturdays. So you can check those out. But you can always grab a painting session with me. Those all happen in Zoom. Now don't forget to hit that notification button and subscribe to this channel. That'll really help me out and keep this free information coming towards you. But hit that notification button so you'll know when I'm going live. Trying to go live a couple times a week. So, you know, keep your notifications going, okay? All right. Let's have some trees. Let's put some trees in. I'm going to go to my smaller Aqua Elite brush. This is number 8. And let's just get some trees going. Okay, so I'm going to make a dark. I've got kind of this weird purpley dark thing going here. I think I'll just work with that. And I'm going to bring some benzimidazzolone yellow into that. Make a kind of a muddy green. Kind of a muddy green there. And let's add a little coin magenta to that. Because it was a little too brilliant, a little too bright. I wanted it a little more muted. That's better. Yeah, that's better. So we'll have a couple of small trees back here. Small, to give us some sense of depth, you know? Just checking my chat box to see if we've got any questions. Okay. So let's have a couple of small trees back here. The nice thing about working on paper is this is all dry now, so I don't have to worry about messing up my background there. So I'm just going to have a couple of small trees, like so. Small so they feel like they're in the distance. Let's have another one right here on my wild pink hill. Crazy pink hill. Probably should have made the trees some kind of fluorescent green or something since everything else is so bright. But we'll just have those guys right there. We'll do something with the trees in the foreground. Okay, got a couple of trees back there. Maybe let's have a little bush or something right here. Couple of little greenery things there, so those trees aren't too lonesome. There we go. Maybe something right here. Just some little tiny things. Just touching it with the tip of my brush. Just so we kind of get the feeling that there's something there. Now in the foreground, I want to have a nice big tree in the foreground. I think I'm just going to have a solo tree right here. And just to give myself a fighting chance for scale and composition, I'm going to just take my loaded brush and I'm just going to make a line right here, and that'll kind of give me the scale for my tree. So just like this, just kind of a dotted line like so. That helps to establish the size of the tree. And then I don't have to get all crazy when I start painting and go, oh no, it's getting too big, or it's not big enough, or whatever. So I'm going to use this kind of muddy green that I made to start with. And again, I say this every time I paint a tree. The thing to remember about trees is they're not solid objects. So make sure you give it enough air, okay? So I start with a really sparse tree, really sparse. And the thing about that is you can always come back and add to it, right? But if you get too crazy to start with, it's going to be really hard to subtract leaves, you know? So try to give it a lot of air to begin with. And just kind of dab that shape in there, kind of more narrow at the top. This is probably, I don't know, it could be an evergreen, it could be an aspen, it could be just about anything. But I'm a painter, not a botanist, so don't hold me to it, what kind of tree it is. Okay, so that's kind of establishing my tree there. Now I'm going to come in and have some fun with it because we're in an abstract landscape. We've got pink hills and stuff like that. So let's play with the color of that tree. I'm going to wash my brush. And now I'm going to go into, I'm going to need more yellow. Let's put some more yellow out because my yellow looks a little muddy. We'll put some yellow out here. And I'm going to really have fun with the color of this tree. So first of all, Quin Magenta, of course. Titanium White. Let's get like a pink going. We're just going to go crazy here with my tree. Really pop it, you know? And again, I'm not making great big paint strokes. I'm kind of dabbing at it, you know? It's going to be lighter probably up at the top. It'll be darker at the bottom, more or less. When it gets dark down at the bottom, we're going to pull a little phthalo blue in there to give it a little dark, feeling of dark. Come back and bring some more of that Quin Magenta in. And I'm really just dabbing with my paintbrush, just dabbing. Let's grab a little, I'm going to wipe my brush. I'm not going to put it in the water, but I'm going to wipe it. And I'm going to grab a little of the Hansa Yellow, come in here. It's going to pick up a little bit of that wet green. That's okay. Get a little Titanium White going. And this is, you know, this is right in the vein of Monet and Van Gogh and all of those Impressionists and Post-Impressionists. Seurat, that painted with little dots of color. That's kind of what we're doing. Let's get a little bit of the phthalo down here. So our tree's looking pretty good. It almost looks like a Christmas tree. Not bad. Not too shabby. Let's give it a little more paint. And you know, err on the side of caution when you're doing that. Make sure you're leaving enough air. Don't, you know, start batching up your paint strokes so that everything gets all kind of filled in. You need a little air there. So I think we've probably got enough in our tree. Let's give it a good strong trunk to stand on. Go into the phthalo blue. There we go. That works. Let's have some little growing things here. We've got this pretty colorful tree. Let's have some colorful little growing things. I'm going to pick up a little yellow. Just have a few little growing things here. Again, I'm just dabbing with my brush. Give it air, make sure they've got some air there. Now we'll come back, grab a little bit of that Quin Magenta, some titanium white, make a nice bright pink. Let's give these guys a little flowering thing here. Alrighty. And maybe we could have a little bit of a growing thing over here too. So we'll grab a little bit of that Hansa yellow. I want it to be a little darker over here, so I'm going to grab some of our muddy green mixture here. Little Quin Magenta. Little phthalo blue. That phthalo blue is pretty powerful, so watch it. Don't go crazy with that phthalo blue. There we go. That gives us a little abstract landscape and a colorful little tree. And I've done it in my sketchbook. The great thing about that is that the more you do that, the more you work in your sketchbook, the better you'll get. So make sure you do lots and lots of paintings in your sketchbook. And be sure you're using a sketchbook that will work with mixed media, like the Canson mixed media. These are really great. They really stand up to a lot of painting. And the other thing you can do, of course, you can take this out of your sketchbook and frame it if you want to, make prints from it, do whatever you want. But I want to show you something. Sometimes what happens is you will be painting on paper, and when you're finished, the painting, the actual paper will curl up. So here's one. See how that's curled up? So there's an easy trick for that. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take my gloss medium, and I'm going to put an X across here, like so, and then just paint that X down like that. And let it dry, and it'll take a bit to dry, but when it dries, it will dry absolutely flat. If you make that X across there, if it doesn't dry flat, do it again. That just means you didn't have enough gloss medium. So that's gloss medium. To do that, just make that X on the back, and the painting will flatten itself out, okay? All right. Well, let's go back to our little landscape. Let's put that back here. And that is our little landscape painting for today. Be sure you are subscribed to the channel and you hit that notification bell, because I'm going to be going live on YouTube quite a bit. Hi, Jeannie. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, be sure you hit that notification bell and that subscription. And I'll be going live a few times a week. Usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, something like that. Okay? All right. If you have any questions, you can always find me over at acrylicdiva.com. Join us for a Saturday painting class over there. We're doing lots of painting, okay? Everybody have a great day. And what do I always say? Keep painting. I'll see you next time.